If picky eaters are a problem in your house, and even if they're not,
So gross.
I have an amazing family tradition that inspires kids, and sometimes even adults, to try new foods. You should be proud of yourself. This life is difficult, and you are doing a spectacular job. You know how I know that? Well, you're here watching this YouTube video about life skills. That drive to improve yourself is what's going to lead you to success. Today, we are talking about a food tasting tradition, which I really think is super fun, and it's sure to bring smiles as well as encourage more explorative eating. When my boys were littles, they had the same problem that many people have when their kids are little. They wanted to eat the same thing over and over, and they weren't interested in trying anything new. I am not a short order chef. I'm not anything even remotely like a short order chef. I'm not even a long order chef. Of course, I don't even know what a long order chef would be, but I'm definitely not that. What I made for dinner was what we ate, full stop. My boys started filling up on breakfast and lunch, and they refused to eat any dinner. Ugh, it was very annoying. So tell me in the comments about your experiences with picky eaters. This food tasting tradition has its footings in trying to help my boys eat a greater variety of foods. Not only was it fun, but it allows everyone the opportunity to express their opinion about a food, and yet teaches them to do it in a respectful way. And it helps work on timing, because not every time is an appropriate time to tell exactly what you think about a food. Sometimes it's appropriate to keep your mouth shut and to pretend like you like it, or at the very least that you don't hate it. I credit my man for this tradition. He has a lot of really, really good ideas. And one example of this tradition is one time my guy came home and he had every thickness of Oreo, from the mega super duper fluffy stuffed Oreos to the ultra thin ones. We all tried them and discussed which ones we liked best and worst. And we had an opportunity to politely express our opinion. The key word there is politely, and we had a good time with that. The idea here is to have sometimes that the food that you try be a treat, so therefore it's really fun and easy for everybody to express their opinions politely about the food, and other times to have it be something like a new fruit or a vegetable or something else that your kids or you might not normally eat. When my boys were younger, each week one of them would be in charge of picking something new and different for us to try. Usually it was from the produce section of the grocery store, but as long as it was new and different and not a treat, then we generally would go with it. Being food critics for treats happened, obviously. That's part of what makes it fun. But it wasn't our weekly pick. By having them be the one that picked out the food, then they had more of a buy-in and they were just more willing to try a new food. Here's the way that we did it. Now, you can take this and adapt it to the way that it best fits your family, but generally what we would do is we would serve the food for dinner. And we would eat the dinner without necessarily commenting on the food. We saved our discussion for after the dinner, after we finished eating, or at the very, very end. I did this to help them understand that there are appropriate times to talk about food preferences, and there are times where you probably just need to keep your mouth shut. What is the saying?
If you can't say something nice, then don't say anything at all.
Well, that can fall into this category. Sometimes it's necessary for you to just practice being able to take a bite or two of a food that you're not familiar with or that you may not necessarily like. As a side note, it is okay to teach your children how to politely and quietly spit their food into a napkin and set it to the side. This is like a magician's sleight of hand magic trick. You're supposed to do it without anybody else noticing. You don't pull into your napkin. You just like very carefully take it and put it in your napkin and stick it to the side. That is a good thing to know. During dinner, everybody is supposed to try at least a bite or two of the food, and there are to be no gagging or yucky comments. If you really love it, you could probably express that at that point, but no gagging, no yucky comments. This is a practice in being polite. When it is time to discuss the food, and maybe you do it right during dinner, I don't know. You can choose how you do it. Sometimes we do it just like right when we're eating it, but when it is time to discuss the food, then you need to go around and make sure every single person has a chance to express their opinion about what they think about it. But here is the key to this expressing your opinion thing. You need to do it in a respectful way. Was it smooth or creamy or tart or savory or tough? Did it taste like another food? Was it salty? It is okay to say very matter-of-factly, I don't like that food, but that's so boring. The objective here is to express whether you liked it or didn't like it with respectful, proper words. Instead of saying, that was yucky, perhaps say, it was too salty for me, or I don't prefer that flavor, or maybe it would be better if it had a cheese sauce. Perhaps you could even say, like this video if you're enjoying it. Just kidding, that would be a really weird thing to say about food, but it would be a really nice thing to do. You could like this video. The idea here is to teach them ways to express themselves without being rude. Here are a few examples of food critic or food taste testing ideas that you might want to try with your family. Even if you don't do this regularly, these are some ideas. For New Year's, have everybody pick 1 or 2 flavors of cheese that is different from everybody else's for everybody to try. When apples are in season, you could have everybody pick a different flavor or kind of apple. And after you've all had a chance to try them, then you could compare and contrast the flavors and talk about which ones you like best and why. Compare fresh green beans with canned green beans. What do you think about the difference? How are sweet potatoes different from regular potatoes? Or red potatoes as opposed to Idaho potatoes? How is jasmine rice different than regular rice? Can you taste a difference? What's your favorite brand of chocolate? Do you know? I have another video about how to politely not eat foods that you do not like. You can click on the video in the corner to watch that. I love you. Drive safely and get home on time. Make sure that you're home on time. That is an important thing. And I'll see you on the next episode of A Lolly Life.